This podcast is where we merge spirituality, mindset, and real-world growth to help you live, move, and create from a place of deep alignment. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Lilah experience. This is your reminder that sometimes the most powerful transformations happen not when you're pushing for more, but when you're finally ready to pause, to reflect, and to receive. As we enter November, the energy begins to shift, the air cools, the days shorten, and nature reminds us that even the most vibrant seasons must come to an end before something new can bloom. This month, for the month of November, it's all about alignment and returning to what's true, releasing what's heavy, and preparing our inner world before we step into 2026. I'd like to invite you to set an intention today. That could be anything. If you'd like to join me with my intention, we're going to talk about how to finish the year aligned, so not burnt out, not frantic, but in full trust that you're exactly where you're meant to be. This year is the year of the snake, 2025, which is all about shedding our skin. I saw something the other day which was I completely aligned with. In this is the first year since probably I've been 17 years old that I didn't start the year off with setting goals. I set intentions. The intentions were more aligned with just peace, gratitude, feelings that I want to feel on a daily basis, and letting go of what I think I want, because as I shed, which makes sense, I didn't even realize it was the year for the snake. As I shed my skin, I wanted to make sure that I'm climbing the right ladder, and what I'm going after is what's my highest purpose, as opposed to perhaps Sky's ego goals. It was quite uncomfortable letting go of those goals, because having goals helps me find clarity. And I think I've, as you know, created Master Your Mindset, the workbook. And what I've learned with that and teaching and coaching that is that you almost have to set really strict goals for yourself in order to then step off the gas and have more freedom with how you pursue life. But it's like you need to go to the gym, have a schedule, have a routine, have that skill set before you can then back off and play at the gym, because then you know how to play. You know, you have a full range of tools in your belt. Like when I go to the gym now, yeah, I could follow a program and I would like to again, but right now I really just play. But that's only because I followed the same program probably for 10 years. I still sort of follow that program, but now I have a lot more play into it. So as we're moving from the year of the snake, we're heading into the year of the horse, where this is when you can gallop into the latest and greatest version of yourself and take everything that this new version, and run with it. I saw something earlier today too that said, hold off on launching that business 2 more months. Just hold off. And I thought, okay, how can I relate this to me? Well, all these things that I'm getting ideas for to start, perhaps I'll just maybe go inward for the next 2 months. And then this was already tied to what today's podcast is about as well, is reflecting before going, oh yeah, winter arc. And some people thrive with that. Lots of men that I know, it's like grind when it's dark out, when it's cold out. It's like, okay, yeah, 100%, you do you. I can't speak for a man, I can only speak for myself and for a female. At least if you're a female, perhaps take this time to just reflect for the next 2 months and prep for 2026. Don't wait for 2026. We can start planning and preparing now. But in order to do so, you need to go inwards. And I call it spring cleaning, where, once a year you do a deep spring clean. But to spring clean, you have to take everything out, and it gets real messy, but then you can put it all back super nice, clean, and organized. So often we're told to finish strong, to sprint towards the end of the year, one last push, one last project, one last burst of productivity. But what if the invitation right now is not to push harder, but to pause deeper? The world is not going to collapse or stop if you take a break. And this is one thing that am still learning, that the world's not going to stop rotating if I rest today. So, I wanted to talk about society's obsession with finishing strong. Now, I'm here for it and not, because I do say it's tricky. Okay, obviously I relate everything to fitness because that's where I spend the majority of my time, especially with teaching too. We do finish strong. We have a finisher. But then the real finisher is to stretch and a cool down. Same thing. We had a strong finish to the summer. Well, hopefully you did. September, October, okay, great, full sprint. But what if you took November and December to reflect and to do the back end of your life so that January, everything is running smoother, right? Even in operations, I don't know what industry you work in, but post-event for us, for our Vancouver, we go inward. We're not marketing the next event already. We're doing the operations, making everything better, making it a better experience, seeing what else we can offer to our members, to attendees, whatever it might be. And then the time comes up again, okay, December, January, February, we start ramping up that marketing for whatever we've planned. Take this time for yourself too. It's been romanticized by hustle culture, and I'm for it. So take it or leave it. I'm not, I am saying something, but I'm not really saying anything. Whatever you hear today is what you're meant to hear. So if you want to have a strong finish, great, go for it. I highly suggest that perhaps you just shift your interpretation of strong. Strong doesn't always mean busy. Sometimes strength looks like surrender. It's knowing when to stop striving and start listening. Same for relationships, I think. At least at the beginning of my relationship with this one, I noticed a lot of grief and just how it all tied together. And it was like, oh, actually to be strong or to be better in this relationship is to be vulnerable and to share my vulnerability, not to go run and hide and cry on my own. It's like, okay, you can express yourself. That's strength. Vulnerability is strength. Surrender is strength. I will say, it wasn't a personal story. It wasn't just 1 year, but probably this past year, I would say I've been in the hustle culture since 18 years old. I remember thinking to myself then, well, if overnight success takes 10 years, then at 28, I'll be successful if I just keep going at what I'm going at. And I know, and I lived at home, in between university and school in Australia. In between all the chapters, I would move home and reset and kind of, get rid of a flat, move to my parents. And I just remember my mom always saying, you're going to burn yourself out, you're going to burn yourself out. And I was like, well, thought to myself, okay, who's got the better abs? I do, so I'll listen to me. I'll keep getting up at 5 a.m., going to the gym. I was in the 4 a.m. club for a while. That was a bit much. 5 a.m. club. Went to the gym without fail. Smoothie, breakfast, went to the office. There was a time too when I was training people from like 6 to 8 a.m. We'd go to the office from 9 to 5, would go back and train people. It was just nonstop. And I thought, nah, not me. Burnout's not going to come. And yeah, I would rest when I deserved to rest in a way. I remember hearing Arnold Schwarzenegger say, just sleep faster. Now that I've read a whole book about sleep and just seriously learned the benefits of sleep, you need your sleep. You need 8 hours, and sleep doesn't, you can't like catch up from the night before. If you miss it that night, you've missed it. And long-term effects, there are long-term effects. My point with this little story is the burnout came. The burnout came when I was living in London, all settled, thinking, okay, great, it's going to be my best life. I'm in London, here we go. And I'm just constantly exhausted. I'm coming out of that burnout, which is nice, but I still feel really quite exhausted. And it's taken probably 2 years of like chronic fatigue, and my blood was off. Lots of things were off. And I remember the naturopath saying, because we went to the same gym, so I'd see him at the gym sometimes, and I got my blood work, and he was like, how are you going to the gym? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you should be in bed all the time, like with what your blood work says. And I was like, oh, really? Like, I don't know, and just get up and go, like discipline, I guess. And he was really quite amazed, but not in a proud sense. It was just like, whoa, you need to rest. And this was before I moved to London, because I really wanted to get my health in order. But I didn't even realize that some people are going about their days with more energy and not feeling exhausted all the time. Imagine what I could do if I had that kind of energy. And that's where I've been now, is as healthy as possible, really focusing on longevity, my cellular health for future offspring, whatever it might be. But I've learned my lesson. Whatever stage you are now, either you've experienced burnout, or if you're going at the pace that people say slow down, you should probably listen, because you might hit burnout. So some reflection prompts with this little aspect is, what stories have you told yourself about needing to be productive until the very end? And that's shifted with COVID and working from home. Is, when do you turn it off? I don't know. I'm not the best example, because I'm on my computer until right before I go to bed. I try to turn it off, or at least do something that is not in front of a screen. So painting, reading is very much like a treat for me. I'll read right before bed, and it's like, ooh, here we go, splurge, we're not working anymore. Where do you still equate rest with laziness? Again, I'm not the one to talk. I turn rest into meditation. It's very challenging for me to strictly just rest. If I'm tired, I'm like, okay, cool, we're going to meditate. It's something that I categorize as productive. And I share about myself because I'm the only person I can share about. I can't speak for anyone else, but I can speak for me, and I can speak for patterns that I've seen in other individuals that I've supported with their fullness of their life, their balance of their life, their wellness tools, habits, routines. What would it mean to finish this year intentionally instead of perfectly? How would it feel? How could you feel if you actually just stepped back? And not stepping back to go backwards, but stepping back to sidestep and then go forwards. Sometimes you have to do that, and you really do need to take 2 steps back, get out your journal things, Google prompt questions, just do some inventory. Ask yourself, are you chasing completion or alignment? Am I trying to control outcomes or trusting the timings? Trusting the timings is so difficult, and I know you probably heard everyone say this, and it's like, okay, cool. How do you do that? And I think I've talked about this in a podcast before about letting go, because everyone's always like, oh, just let go. It's like, okay, great, thanks. What does that mean? Like, how do you let go? I'm somebody who's incredibly visual. I've realized in order to kind of surrender to things, I need a visual to help me just understand it. So 2 years ago, maybe now, I visualized a time, okay, when did I let go, and when was I safe, and when did I trust where I was going, even though I was not the driver? And I've done this experience or kind of visual with a few people before with Master Your Mindset, but close your eyes right now. Imagine a time when somebody else is the driver, and you are sitting back joyfully, enjoying the ride, looking out, enjoying the scenery. And you're not concerned about where the driver's going or how fast or what they're doing to get you there. You know you'll get somewhere where you want to be, and you can enjoy the ride. One client that I did the workbook with used the example of when she was in a plane. She trusts the pilot. She knows they're taking her to where she wants to go, and she's enjoying the ride. Mine was on the back of an ATV with my dad when he's driving. I like driving an ATV, but I prefer to be the passenger because then I can look over and soak in the views, and it's like, oh, this is incredible. My sweet dad is in front of me breaking the wind. I get to just relax, and it's like I'm not trying to control him and where he's going. I'm enjoying the ride. So how can you think to yourself, okay, so that's my example of when I let go. It's like, okay, I visualize myself letting go. Feels just like when I'm in the back of dad's ATV and we're going for a ride, strictly just for the purpose of going for a joy ride. We're not even trying to get anywhere. We're just going for a ride. Now, that's obviously very specific to my upbringing, but that's something that I just go, that might help you. Think of a visual. So then when you remind yourself, oh, I need to let go, it's like, okay, well, what does letting go look like for you? When's an actual instance that you've let go that you can cross over to other scenarios that isn't quite as specific? The truth is, the year doesn't need you to finish strong. It needs you to finish aware, to finish present, to finish in peace with where you are, not constantly chasing where you're not. When you focus on what you don't have, you attract more of lack. When you focus on what you do have, you attract more of what you want. So it's, yes, having that desire of where do I want to go, but then how can I visualize the future really quickly and then come back to the present and soak in the abundance of it. Nature doesn't rush, yet everything is accomplished. By Lao Tzu. I really love to work in alignment with nature because nature knows, and it's sustainable. You don't want to get burnout. You want to go with the rhythms of nature. Run when it's summer, rest when it's winter. You can still do things. Obviously, we're not bears, so we're not going to hibernate for 6 months, but how can you go inward? I notice with myself, when people say bulking season in the winter and then cutting season in the summer, that's against nature. And I've noticed I don't try to do that. I just naturally lean out in the winter so much, and obviously don't get overweight in the summer, but the summer is when I'm kind of bulking because I'm eating more, I'm outside more. The winter, it's like it just burns. Literally just go for a walk and relate what you see around you, nature. If you're in a big city, okay, it's a little bit different. Try to just look at the trees and go, they're turning yellow. They're turning red. They're going to fall off. What does that mean for the tree? They're not blooming. You can't possibly bloom all year long. You need to go inward. So, I'm getting a bit just excited here, but you get the memo. The power of reflection, you guys. Reflection is one of the most underrated spiritual practices. It's how the nervous system integrates, how our stories gain meaning, and how we actually learn from the things we've lived. Neuroscience, it shows that reflection integrates memory and meaning. Without it, we repeat cycles. So when you actually reflect, just like business, you analyze your data, right? Like, businesses don't just keep going without analyzing their data. That would be silly. So analyze your life data. My gosh, I do a monthly reflection. Let me know if you need support. I've got a monthly template, an annual template, a seasonal template, quarterly seasonal template. Neuroscience tells us that when we pause to reflect, the brain moves experiences from short-term to long-term memory. We literally rewire how we hold the past. Oh, it's so fascinating. I'm learning more about this. I actually just asked to volunteer at a neuroscience clinic, so hopefully that works out. That'd be so fun. Without reflection, we repeat. With reflection, we rise. Notice your patterns, and then you're able to communicate for yourself in whatever regards necessary. A little reflection ritual. I'm inviting you to journal or voice note. Whatever feels good for you. You can use questions, or you can just go inward with a blank page. Meditate on questions instead of making to-do lists. So, for example, You can do it with me now, or you can get out your journal. You can pause this if you'd like. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Ask yourself, what did this year teach me about who I am and what I want? Pause, right? What am I most proud of, even if no one else saw it? Oh, that hits hard for me this year. What moments broke me open in ways I didn't expect? What am I truly ready to forgive myself for? I'll share a brief little story. Obviously, okay, I know I talk about my relationship quite a bit now, but because it is a new-ish thing, and I have grown so much from it, it's been absolutely incredible. As mentioned even earlier, there are times when I would just be triggered and grief would hit me, and it's like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I'm experiencing. And the first couple months, I would just go home and then basically hyperventilate, because it's like, whoa, what's going on? I've come to discover it's a little PTSD. And I've been working through it. It doesn't hit often, but sometimes it does. And I think because with a significant relationship and other, I guess that kind of love is closest to the love that I had for Alexandre. Still have, obviously, but you get what I mean. So it opened so many cans of worms that I didn't know needed attention. Now, instead of running away and processing it on my own, I'm able to sit with my lovely boyfriend and let him be there for me. I think it might have been challenging because, say, for Alexandre, my whole family was grieving. So, I don't know, it's a weird experience when somebody in your family dies and, like, everyone's grieving. I guess perhaps maybe because you don't want others to see you hurt because you know that it'll trigger them. And I don't love the word trigger, but I've come to understand it's really quite accurate. You don't want to activate their grief, so it's sort of like, well, I'll deal with this on my own and we'll move past it. And now I'm like, oh, I can have a sweet, loving boyfriend to hold me while I cry and everything's okay and this will just pass. How incredible. And I'm so proud of myself for being able to be vulnerable in front of him. That's it. That's something where it's like, whoa, that broke me open, where I can hold love for him in that way. Well, there's some other stuff, but I'll share that later. It's been quite fascinating. So, spiritual reframe. You don't need to label things as good or bad. Everything that happened this year either showed you love or taught you where to give it next time. Slowing down is not doing less, it's doing deeper. You can energetic clear. So clutter, emotional, digital, physical, blocks new energy. I'm always clearing out things. I literally just saged myself before going into this podcast because I wanted to just come with clean, good, fresh energy and channel whatever needs to be said for you to hear. Before we step into new energy, we need to clear space because abundance can't land in a cluttered field. Notice if you've been doing this intuitively, the year of the snake, shedding your skin. Where have you been shedding? What have you been decluttering? I saw something the other day too where it was explaining, like, if you're kind of clearing out your kitchen, you're clearing out old ways of how you nourished yourself. If you're clearing out your closet, it's old ways of how you identify or versions of yourself. Your bathroom, kind of your beauty, how you approach your... So just take a inventory check of your life and see what you can not get rid of, because I also watched a professional cleaner organizer woman once, and she just explained why it's so difficult for people to let go, because things hold stories. So something it's a memory. maybe you need to do a little ritual around it in order to let it go and know that that memory is with you forever, regardless if you let that thing go. And then also think of it in a way, for me, it's definitely been difficult getting rid of some of my clothes, especially ones that I really like, but I just haven't worn them, say over a year. And I think that's not necessary. There's some people without clothing or a closet like mine. Instead of thinking, oh, I'm getting rid of this, it's how can I gift it to somebody so they can get experiences and joy from this article of clothing. Sometimes what you're carrying isn't even yours anymore. Old expectations, old relationships, old versions of yourself. Just let it go. Just let it all go. See what happens. Your world is not going to collapse if you give away some of your clothes. Releasing isn't forgetting. It's freeing up energy for what's next. My mom always told me this too. When you make space in your closet, there's room for more. And that's kind of what I've had in my head my whole life. It's like, I'm always getting rid of clothes because I think, oh, I want something new. I don't go out and get something new right away. But if there's space for something new to enter, then it can enter. Where if your closet's stuffed, you can't really get new clothes because you have nowhere to put it. Same thing as your kitchen, whatever, anywhere. Clean your workspace with intention. I work, eat, sleep, obviously do some work outside of the house, but a lot of it is inside my home. And I try to just set up different areas for eating, working, painting, reading. I just try to have a different, literally, even if it's a spot on the couch. I try not to sit on the couch if I'm eating, where I usually sit when I'm on my computer. I just try to at least keep that a little separate. Write thank you letters to lessons learned. Maybe just journal about whatever you're letting go. Burn or bury notes of what you're releasing. There's so many little rituals you can do. You obviously don't need to do all this, but I don't know, it's a thing for a reason. It might work. When we release, we tell the universe we're ready for expansion. I freaking love releasing. I'm like, show me what's more. Like, show me. Bring in new energy. Some reflection prompts for you. What am I holding on to out of fear rather than love? Whew. What do I need to forgive? Or who do I need to forgive to move forward lighter? Maybe it's yourself. Maybe it's expectations for you have the people that you're not even aware of. What parts of me are asking to be released before I enter the new year? Oh, yes. I'm like, honestly, you should see me at home. I literally am trying to get rid of everything, just kind of for fun to see what new comes in. Some simple release practices: energy clearing. Clear your space with intention. Light a candle or sage and say, I release what no longer aligns with where I'm going. Letter burning. Write a letter to your old self or old season and burn or bury it under the moon. Body-based release. Move, cry, shake, or breathe it out. The body holds grief, fear, and change, and it needs expansion to let go. Oh. And tying back to my previous example with my relationship and grief, when I would get home, it was a really fascinating experience because it happened like almost every weekend for 1 month, where I'm like, what is going on? It's like, oh, I guess my heart is opening for this person, which means it's kind of clearing out old gunk love that I've been holding on to in terms of Alexandra. I even had this conversation with her a year ago on my birthday in Norway. I was like having a spiritual experience with her, letting her go into the fjords of Norway. And I heard myself, one, apologize for holding on and simultaneously apologize for letting go. It was such a fascinating experience. It was like, whew, I'm so sorry to be holding on to you. Like, I hope I'm not holding your spirit here. But then also, I'm so sorry to be letting you go because I need to let this go. Like, it's been really quite something. This year's been so different, and now it's just, I don't know, that probably helped open my heart for a relationship. Anyway, so when I get home, I would honestly like hyperventilate, and it's like, what is going on right now? I feel like I never cry this hard. I'm pretty pretty positive, light, joyful person. And then I remember thinking, oh, I feel like I'm purging this pain from the past. And being open to love is kind of stirring up that. And okay, yes, this is really shitty in the moment, but it feels incredible after. Oh yeah, maybe TMI, but I don't know. It was a really fascinating experience, and I can say I don't have that anymore. Okay, almost there. Just a few more things. Another part I wanted to mention is grounded vision for what's next. So as you do your clearing for this month in December, and I've kind of planned November, December all around this, bridge to new beginnings. Before we leap into goal setting, we first ground in gratitude. So I encourage you to create a feeling-based vision rather than a rigid plan. That's how I've shifted to, I say it, intention. So I call intentions the same kind of feeling-based. My intention is peace, gratitude, joy, abundance. It's these feelings that I want to experience on a daily basis. And then what is my kind of game plan to get me there? But it's different every day, or there's smaller goals as opposed to massive annual goals. I found those annual goals just aren't as effective. You need to break the year down into, say, obviously quarters, months, weeks, days, and then what are you doing every day that will just automatically get you there to your bigger goals? How do you want to feel stepping into 2026, and what energy do you want to embody? For example, I want to make more money versus I want to feel abundant, creative, and free. Play around with it. I'm honestly kind of an expert at achieving what I set out to do. I really have done everything that I set my mind to, but I will say it's not the same as striving for an actual feeling. For example, traveling the past few years, it was fun, but I got tired. What I realized and how I really need to shift my focus towards is a sustainable feeling. So instead of 50 countries by age 30, which was my goal, I knew it probably wasn't going to hit it, but I just thought aim for the stars, or the sun, whatever it is. Now, it's a start because you need to measure them somehow, but I can tell you now that smaller, more regular goals really is the trick if lifestyle is your focus. So as I've done my years of globetrotting, I've discovered, okay, it's not about X amount of countries, it's on an annual basis. Okay, one new country a year would be great. One maybe one adventure trip, one relaxing recovery, and then maybe some smaller weekend trips or day trips every quarter or 2 months. That's how my sort of adventure goals have shifted. And it's true, like, well, I went to Brighton the other day or somewhere else on the coast, and that felt like an adventure, and I didn't have to get on a plane. I wasn't exhausted. It was just a really nice day trip. So reflect and release, and then focus on realignment. Get really clear on the way you want to feel for 2026 before you start making goals, rigid goals. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I've heard this a lot because I listen to this type of stuff a lot. But it's like, how long do you really feel good after you've accomplished something? 10 years? No. 2? No. A month? Maybe. It's really like a couple hours or a couple days, and then you're on to the next. It's just kind of make your goals more daily focused on how you're feeling and what you want to attract, and focusing on directing your energy into something that feels back to you. So questions for you. How do I want to feel in 2026? What energy do I want to bring into my relationships, my business, my health? What words describe the version of me I'm becoming? If nothing was missing, what would I create from that place? For example, this year, say 2026, I mean, it could change in 2 months, but I'm called to the word devotion, to myself, to my art, to my joy. But in doing so, devotion to others. I really think you need to have a higher purpose for yourself and have some kind of intention to serve others. You'll be happier. So mine is being authentic to myself, helping others in a way that feels good for me, usually kind of around health and wellness, and then devotion to those daily practices. So I'm truly walking the walk. I'm doing these things that I help others set up for themselves. And for me, really, it's around health, kind of devotion to my health, and then sharing how I'm growing with others. So that could open so many doors, say next year, that I can't even imagine right now. Who knows? In a way that feels good. I really love doing wellness retreats. I'm only 29, but I'm seriously focusing on my cellular health in preparation for babies. Notice I'm less drawn to career goals as I get a bit older and more focused on my ultimate health, so working towards my ambitions, but in a way that doesn't spike my stress levels where I used to before. And if things take longer, that's okay, because for me, my number one, every kind of couple of years, I always have a major goal. And before moving to London, it was to move across the world. Now that I've done this, because I really want to do that before having kids, now that I've done this, it's like, okay, I don't know when the next chapter will come or what it'll look like, but my next top goal is a family. And to do that, I want to be in the best possible scenario. I just want to be the healthiest as ever. Tiny little things that I've made changes were no nail polish or natural moisturizer. Obviously, I'm not perfect. I still put chemicals on my skin, but I'm trying. I'm trying to have really good DNA for my little babies. Because your health is number one. Without that, you have nothing. Or at least anything that you do have is kind of useless. To put it all together, you guys, winding down doesn't mean giving up. It's how you rise with clarity. As we close today, I want you to remember this year isn't ending. It's integrating. You're not behind. You're becoming. Focus on the becoming. Find joy in the becoming. Take one last deep breath. Place your hand on your heart and thank yourself for showing up this year, even when it was hard, even if no one saw it. I will see you next Monday. If this episode grounded with you, please share it with someone you love who's feeling the end of your rush. If you haven't already, sharing some tools and habits on Lilah on Instagram for weekly rituals, reflections, and energy shifts. Peace is power, presence is progress, and alignment always finds you when you're ready to listen. See you next Monday. I love you guys so much. Have the best day ever. And do you. Take it or leave it. Bye.